Welcome to Spirits Are Talking, hosted by Lisa Silverman. Join us every Tuesday night for live on-air psychic medium readings, crystal energy healings, oracle card readings, chakra balancing, and so much more. Host Lisa Silverman is a natural-born intuitive, psychic, medium, and spiritual life coach, working professionally in the metaphysical healing arts since 2015. Lisa communicates with loved ones and pets that have passed on for emotional healing and answers. Not to mention, she is an established interior designer since 2009, focusing on feng shui, modern design, and house healings by creating a harmonious energy flow for her clients. Now, your host of Spirits Are Talking, Lisa Silverman.
Hi, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate your time, whether you're listening to it live or on replay. You could be anywhere in the world and you're spending some time with me. And so I so appreciate that very much. I'm going to take some questions and comments a little bit later. But tonight I wanted to focus on animal communication. I am a medium. I talk to both humans, loved ones, and pets. And people ask, well, when did you start communicating with your loved ones? And it had to be around 8 years old for, I think, pretty much for animals and people, being able to see, feel, and hear my loved ones. So when I was little, I had this natural sensitivity to animals and their feelings. And I always thought that people could feel their consciousness and their love and their unconditional love. I remember growing up with my dog Silver, who I got my parents rescued from the SPCA. He was a purebred Bentlington Terrier who looked like a lamb. And I'll never forget, I was at my next door neighbor's house. My parents come home with the dog and he jumps on me and knocks me over. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want this dog. Well, he turned out to be my best friend until from 5 years old till about 18 and a half, he completely grew up with me. And he was such a good friend to me. His name was Silver, and he was really, really amazing. I could feel his energy and knew his thoughts, and I could tell that he could read mine. I know it's so crazy, but I definitely felt that as a young age. I wanted to share with you some experiences that I've had regarding animal communication and how it's affected me in my life. And, you know, we know that animals are our family members and that they're full of unconditional love. They know when we're sad and when we're happy and when we're feeling blue, because I remember my dog, Silver, growing up, if I was home from school, he was right next to me or on my bed the whole entire day. The truth is that whether it be our pets or our humans, their energy always stays with us. And if we look inside and into their eyes a little deep enough, you can see their soul. I remember that I could talk to Silver, like I said, and he always knew my emotions. I swear. But when I fast forward a little bit, I grew up on the water. We would always hear ducks outside, and I was like the bird watcher. I could hear a duck chirping that lost his way from his mother, and I would go out and save the ducks. Okay. If the mother wasn't there, I would take the duck and put it in the bathtub overnight and then reunite the duck with the mama in the morning. My dad let me do that. He knew that I had this gift to talk to animals. In fact, he always called me Doctor Dolittle, which I find very interesting now. I also wanted to share that I had experiences when I was little watching Lassie. And I remember thinking, oh no, she's not going to come home. She's not going to come home. And then Flipper, and that was about the dolphins, you know, and Flipper would swim off into the ocean and he's not going to make it home. My dad would always reassure me, Lisa, Lassie, and Flipper will always make it home. And I just remember being so sensitive to their feelings. And I know that's the empath in me. And I'm sure you can relate to it too if you're empathic. Um, we sense a lot of things, and animal communication's definitely been one of mine. Even at the zoo, I remember being little at the San Francisco Zoo and thinking, why are they in there? And that they really want to come out, and that they were having this whole conversation with amongst themselves in their own little colony or tribe, if you will, with the monkeys and the zebras and stuff. And I've always been this way. So, but I wanted to share with you how animals can communicate from the other side, and a few excuse me, mind-blowing stories. And I also do have some dogs that want to come through, and that's why my throat's getting a little plugged up, because they definitely want to come through, and I'm going to do that in a few minutes. I wrote a few notes down of what I'm looking for, who's around, and I will read them. It's a Dalmatian, a black and white dog, and a collie type dog, or caramel and tan dog, that want to come through for sure. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But I wanted to tell you about this, about my dog Buster, which I've mentioned before. He was a Bichon, a very handsome Bichon, and he was very aware, and he took on the tendencies of my late father. And I definitely know that my dad channeled through the dog. Excuse me, my voice. They were alike. Okay, so that's a whole nother show. I did touch on it before. So I recognize that our loved ones come through animals as well, and give us divine loving messages from the other side too. That's their form of communicating, is through animals and birds. There's so many sessions when I channel a loved one, and the animal is the messenger for all this love. And it's oftentimes a bird or a dragonfly or a ladybug or other animals. And they just know that their loved one is giving them divine messages through that encounter. So I want to share this one story. Well, I have a few. I had a Buster and a Bella that were 3 years apart. And Buster was phenomenal. He was very handsome male Bichon, and I thought he was lonely, so I got him a second dog, Bella, who was a female Bichon, and I knew that Buster tolerated her, and the way their interaction was together was definitely like my father and his mother's. And I just knew that she was also my grandma. I know it sounds crazy, but the dynamics were the same. So Buster tolerated Bella, and Bella was an amazing dog. And after Buster passed away, she was very sad and only knew life with him. So she made it till 15, and so did Buster. And after she passed, and she was very tired and heartbroken without him, I went on a vacation on a cruise. Mind you, I've not been able to close my door and just leave it, if you will, without having a dog or kids or pets, growing up and then raising my children. And so it was like a sense of freedom. And I knew Bella was so at peace being with Buster, because she definitely suffered serious depression after he left. They had their own dynamics. He would beg and she would get the treat. And then when he died, she didn't know how to beg. She had to figure it out. It was very interesting. And they were just like the dynamics of my dad and his mother. My dad was a really good son, and she was very dominating, and it's hysterical. So I go on this vacation after a few weeks after Bella passed away, and Buster had been gone 3 years. And I'm on a cruise with one of my childhood friends. And we're in the middle of the ocean, and there's just no birds. There's nothing. And we had a balcony room, and I was getting something out of the room. And I look out the window, and right where my room balcony is the most gorgeous white bird out of nowhere. Huge. Okay. And this bird flew right next to my cabin and got my attention immediately. When I looked up at the bird, I was like, oh my gosh, I knew immediately who it was. It was so interesting. I knew it was Buster telling me something, but I couldn't figure it out for a second. And I'm watching him, and he is soaring next to the boat, and there's not another bird in sight. Okay. And so he's saying, you're fine. And I know you missed both of us, but we're together, kind of thing. So all of a sudden, the bird, this big, white, beautiful bird, I don't even know what type of bird, flies off to the very front of the ship and leaves for a second. And I'm like, that's interesting. And then comes back with the same type of bird, only smaller. Well, I start crying. My girlfriend, my childhood friend, is on the upper deck getting some sun and also noticed the bird in the middle of the ship and thought that was really strange. The bird in the middle of nowhere following where our room was. So I call her on her phone and I'm like, did you see a bird? She's like, yeah. And I thought it was strange. I'm like, please come to the room. So she comes down to the room and these two birds flew, and we were both bawling our eyes out because it was such a direct message. Two birds out of nowhere flew directly next to the ship, our room, eye level. It felt like, maybe 200 yards out, if that, for 4 hours, because it was 4 o'clock and we were going to dinner, maybe 3.5 hours. This bird, the other bird, it was just wild. Okay. So they came to say that they were together and they're on the other side and not to worry about anything. And it was so beautiful. And my girlfriend, who was on the top deck, noticed the same thing. And then we put it together pretty immediately and was so comforted knowing that they were together. So that's one of my mind-blowing stories to me. Another one is when I go to the dog park, because I am an animal communicator, the dogs will come swarm around me and want to talk and want to talk. And sometimes I can tell that their parents, owners, family aren't really into me saying, yeah, I'm a pet intuitive. Your dog has a lot to say. Would you like to hear what they're saying? Because I've done that and people get a little freaked out, and it's kind of funny, but it is true. So not that long ago, I was at the dog park and this little pug was just super hyper and he needed to have less anxiety. So he asked me to please tell his mommy that he's a little anxious and he doesn't know how to relax. And so what can I do for him? So I told him a few things of these herbs or whatever. I can't remember exactly what to do. The owner of the dog was so grateful. I saw her later, a few weeks later, and what I suggested to her worked. So she was a believer that I was talk to the animals. So one day, though, I was walking with my daughter by the beach, and we're walking down the sidewalk, and there's this little dog in a service little vest, and he is freaking out while he's watching me walk down the street. And it's like yards and yards, like 100 yards away. So I say to my daughter, this dog really wants to talk to me. Look at how he's acting. It's so funny. I wonder what he has to say. So she's like, really, you're kidding. The dog is acting so excited. So I walk up to the table, and the dog has a service vest, knows he's being a bit naughty, but doesn't care, and is very excited to see me. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, hi, is it okay if I pet your dog? And they said, yeah, he's acting really crazy. He doesn't normally act like this. He's normally well behaved. And they're, shoving him down and saying, please stop and off. And the dog's not listening, not having it. Can't wait to speak to me. So my daughter's laughing like, oh my gosh. So I said, well, I'm a pet intuitive and your dog really wants to talk to me. Is that okay? And they said, yeah. And it was like the day or two after 4th of July. The dog says to me immediately, I hate the fireworks. I need you to tell them that I'm still freaked out from the fireworks. They were so loud and made me crazy. I was in the closet for the whole night. I said, wow, he's telling me that he heard all the fireworks and was in the closet the whole night. Would that make any sense? And they said, yeah. And I said, he's showing me that he was in Mexico or some type of foreign country. And I just assumed it was Mexico. I just felt that way. And he was saved off the street. And then you got him through a saved program here. Is that right? And they said, yes. And I said, he's saying, how grateful he is for you saving him from the impoverished street life. And the other thing that the dog said, and he was so funny, he was literally out of control, could not stay off of me. And he was so happy. The other thing that he said was that I don't like vans. I just don't like dark vans or loud vans. And I said, he wants to talk about like a van, loud vans, that he doesn't like the sound of those. And they're like, no, he freaks out every time the UPS or the Amazon truck comes by or to our house, or he sees when he obviously can't stand it. So it was very interesting. This couple was very touched and moved with the beautiful messages from the dog, and validating everything that he felt was just, their eyes just lit up. They were an older couple, and they were definitely mind blown that their dog was acting that way and wanted to speak to me and share so much information and gratitude and love and how grateful he is. And that's the truth. All our pets and animals are so grateful for us, and they give us so much unconditional love that they have a higher consciousness that they naturally vibrate on, higher than we do on a daily moment by moment level. They have kind of there's like, we have all these levels of consciousness, and they have levels of consciousness, but there's like a big gap into the unconditional love and the communication part with humans, and knowing what our needs are and what our emotional needs are. It's just so amazing. I remember years ago, I've swam with dolphins a few times, but the first time that I swam with dolphins, I've always wanted to swim with dolphins. And I remember thinking that there's something very soulful about them. This is throwing it back maybe 20 years ago. And I remember knowing that there's something very soulful about them and very playful about them. And I cannot wait to get an opportunity to swim with them. So when I had the opportunity, I took it, of course. And it was one of the most enlightening, beautiful experiences I felt that I had with an animal that I didn't know about. It was like a communication on a soul level that was so profound from this dolphin, and the wisdom in his eyes and the touch of his, rubber skin. I don't know exactly what you call it, but and the kindness, and I felt like I got a healing from this dolphin swimming, and this unconditional love was just pouring into my soul. And he was just sharing that, the message he told me, and this is before I knew I was like a real medium with pets and loved ones. The message he told me was, live your life with joy, have fun, be fun, have spontaneity, swim free, And I was like, oh my God, I remember swimming with him, just crying, like, you're so beautiful. This soul has touched me so deeply. And so those are a few stories. I've had a pet intuitive session recently that was quite informative, and I hope things are going well for them. I'm going to take some questions in a minute. Have you guys have you had your own pet connections and talking to loved ones through, or noticing through a bird or your pet, what it's like when you notice that, oh, they remind me of my loved one, or they have a message from my loved one? Hi, everybody. I'm taking a quick break to look at the comments. Hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. Hello, 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 everybody. Anybody have a comment or a question? Please throw it out there. I have another interesting, Buster was my dog, and he was literally, like I said, my late father. And I could talk a whole show about him, how their energy were identical and stuff. So it was interesting because we're drawn to our pets and to animals in so many ways, always divinely guided. You might be at the rescue place and fall in love with the puppy in the window, or someone might give you an animal to take care of, or however we connect, the random acts of the universe is how we're meant to connect with them. So after Bella passed away, we had, the lockdown of COVID 2020. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this without Bella. So I went on a search to find another Bichon, and I wasn't ready for another dog. But I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this alone. So I was divinely guided to find Bentley. It was about a 7-hour drive. And when I got there with my daughter and cousin, I saw him on a video. I'd never got a dog that way before, ever. I just trusted that Buster and Bella would divinely get me the next right dog. And I wanted another B. My daughter had suggested a B for Bentley. And I said, I knew a cat named Bentley. It's okay. I think I'll find something else. Well, to make a long story short, on my way down to pick up Bentley and meet him, I drove behind a white Bentley for about 30 miles. And I said, okay, there it is. That's the name. Because I was like, I need a B. I'm looking at B names. Do I need Beach? Do I want Boulevard? No. Do I want Bernie? And then it was Bentley. So that's what stuck. When I met him, it was as if he knew me forever. He was so excited to be with me. He was so excited to know me again. It was so familiar. He was looking my face. I have this video of him and our encounter, and it was just so wild. And I'm crying, and he's so happy. And then the mother comes around and says, his mother, like, I love you. Thank you for taking him. It was this whole emotional scene, and he was as good as gold and familiar. And I was like, that's interesting. Buster and Bella, my other two Bichons, totally brought him together with me, because when he walked in my house after a 7-hour drive of being totally comfortable, not making a peep in the car, walked in the house like he knew the joint. It was so interesting. And then I'm going to answer your questions in just a second. And then as Bentley got a little bit older, and he totally had no problem getting to know this house, it was like automatic. I remember I'm potty training him. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and I have this grass patch, and I'm always very attuned to Buster and Bella when they come visit. So I have this grass patch. I'm saying, hey, Bentley, please go pee pee on the pad, on the grass. So he's not doing it, and he's like playing, and he's being super cute and super puppyish. So I sit on the floor and I cross my legs and I have my hands on my lap, and all of a sudden, and Bentley's like 10, 15 feet away from me, looking at me. All of a sudden, all this energy comes and sits in my lap. I know exactly who it is. It's Buster giving me a hug and saying, I'm going to school him. I'm going to school him for you. I'm thinking, oh, okay. Bentley notices and looks at me like, what's going on? What's going on in her lap? He could feel the energy. That's the other thing, is our pets are very, very sensitive and can see and feel. And so then Bentley walks over and sits in my lap for a minute in that Buster energy. And Buster's saying, oh, you're gonna get schooled, little man. That's for sure. He gets out of my lap. Okay. Not even a minute later, looks at me, walks over to the grass patch, and goes pee-pee immediately. It was so incredible. I'm like, okay, Buster, thank you so much. You're doing training from the other side. And the way Bentley was looking at me, at this energy in my lap, and knowing, he always knows when Buster comes in my room at night. There was a spot where Buster used to sleep on my bed, and Bentley sleeps there now, but he knows. He looks at me, looks at the spot in the bed, and then he looks up the light, the chandeliers, like confirmation, and looks at me again. I go, yes, I know. I can feel him too. So that's very interesting too. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. Okay, let me answer a couple questions. One of the questions is from Philip. Do pets reincarnate and come back? Yes, they do, very much so. I definitely know that for a fact. I have an interesting fun fact with my cousin, who was at a pet store, a pet store, buying pet food, and they were having a cat adoption day. Okay. So she's with her granddaughter, and her granddaughter says, Grandma, you got to come and check out this cat. This cat's super special. He really wants us to take it home. She's like, oh, I'm not getting a cat. We're not getting a cat. No. She's like, but Grandma, come and look. So this cat was absolutely gorgeous. And she was out. They were just all three drawn to this cat. It was like, take me home, take me home, take me home. Well, they find out it's a Russian blue, which is beautiful. It's super beautiful cat, the most gorgeous eyes. And then they find out that there's this whole history with the cat that they didn't know about before. So they end up adopting the cat, and he is really, really beautiful and very exceptional. Okay. And very familiar. And my cousin was saying that she never had a cat that lovable and that, dog-like, if you will. That's what she said. And so I did a reading on him, and this cat is so gorgeous. He's all gray with white little paw marks and like a little white on his face, but he's so slick. He looks like Dean Martin to me. I swear, like that, Vegas vibe, cool. Anyway, I did a reading for him, and he came back as to her because he was so drawn to her. It's like, why is this magnetism connection so intense? Well, he told me he was her childhood dog, which I grew up with. The dog was a poodle, and the dog, he told me all these things about their childhood dog. And I was like, wow. And she confirmed all these things. So he came back to be her cat and to have freedoms that he didn't have as a dog on a soul level growing up in the household with them. And that he's so happy that they're reconnected, only he has so many lives, and he decided to come back as a male cat this time and not a female dog to make sure he could connect with her again on a soul level. And she was blown away. I was blown away. So that's what happens. All cats are exceptional. Yeah. All animals are exceptional. The comments are all cats are exceptional. I have a comment. I'm sure they do, because you care shows that they are good. Yeah, that's true. Any questions or comments? I'm going to we're going to take a break, I think, in a minute. And when I come back, I'm going to talk about the black and white dog. I feel like it's a spotted dog or a Dalmatian, and like a collie dog or a caramel tan and black dog that wants to come through. So anybody have a dog like that are around? The one that's like a collie has kind of long hair and is it's definitely a herding type dog. How are my mom's dogs? Oh, I'm sorry. Your mom's dogs? Is there 3 dogs on the other side? I'm asking through the comments. Is there 3 dogs from your mom? Because they're all together, but they were like at different times. Is there 3 dogs together? 2, but 1 on any other side. The Sheltie. Okay, this is it. This is the Sheltie for you, Angie. I had a Sheltie named Dolly, and then I had to rehome them. Okay. Well, you know what? We'll answer these in just a second. We're going to go to a quick break. And yeah, I'm sure your puppies are fine. You gave them to the right home. It's in the comments. And then I want to talk about Dolly, the Sheltie, with Angie, who's on here. So thank you all for joining me. We're going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. See you.
Download the new station calendar and never miss another show. To get it is simple and free. Just visit WLTK-DB.com to download or tap the subscribe button on our mobile app. Once the file is in your downloads folder, just double-click it, authorize it to your calendar, and boom, you have every show listed. Not only does it list the shows, but also the links to watch them live. We would like to thank Danny Loosemore for developing this for us and hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Get yours now at WLTK-DB.com or just click subscribe on our mobile app. See you at the shows. Put the power of this station in the palm of your hand and download our mobile app. Visit the App Store, Google Play, and search for WLTK-DB Talk Radio and download the app for free. Listen to past shows, download our station calendar right to yours, and even shop. The WLTK-DB Talk Radio mobile app, now available on the App Store and Google Play. Download yours now.
And we're back. So I'm live. So I'm looking at some comments and excuse me, sometimes when I'm going to channel, my throat gets a little verklempt. Okay, so I did say that I have like a herding dog, and that it's a collie dog, kind of caramel and tan. I wrote this down before. Winter is caramel collie dog, black and white. Caramel collie dog. Okay, Leah. It's in the comments. It says winter is a caramel collie dog, black and white. Interesting, because I wrote black and white on here. And then I wrote a collie dog. And then I wrote caramel and tan. So there's a few dogs coming through that I think I'm going to be able to match with their loved one. So Leah and Angela, she's a Native American Indian dog. She's still living. She feels very much alive in her body. Lee, sorry, Lee. Yes. Okay. Sorry, Lee. Pronounced Lee. Yes, she's living. She feels very much alive. And is she like 5 years old? 5. Something's very significant with 5 with her. What is 5? 5 years old, 5 months. Her birthday's in May. She's 2. Okay. Maybe she was 1 of 5. Anyway, she's so thrilled that you got her. And there's something very familiar she wants me to say. Her sister's 5. Thank you. See, Lee just said her sister's 5, and I circled 5 years. See how significant? 2 or 1 of. So she is a happy, very happy girl. And she's also showing me that she likes to kind of corner things. Is she a herding kind of dog? Because she's like, likes to kind of corner things or move around things or kind of get things like where she could pounce, but not. I don't know what that means. Does that make sense to you? I'm waiting for an answer. And then I want to talk to Angie. Yes, is the answer. Okay. She's very lovely. She's got a little anxiety, and she wants to be calmer. She said she wants to calm down, and you always tell her, calm down a little bit, please calm down. And she is just still really playful and it's still kind of testing you. Lee said, yes, it makes sense. Thank you. Do you have a question for me? I'm taking questions about her. Right on spot. Okay, thank you, Lee. Yeah, she's very happy, and she's a little still full of energy, and she wants you to know she will calm down, okay? But she's a very good girl, and she does love her sister. So she does like interesting. So Lee is saying she does she like the campground? Yeah, but she likes to have some confinement. She likes to be a little bit not completely, she needs a little structure is probably part of her anxiety. So not total free reign. Does that make sense? Yes, she said it makes sense. Lee, it makes sense. Okay, yeah. She just Hi Diana. Thank you for joining me, everybody. It's we're talking about animal communication. Spirits are talking, and I want to get to Ashley. I think it's Ashley. It's about the caramel and tan dog that I have. Angie, pardon me. It's Angie. Are you familiar with the caramel and tan dog? Tonight I'm doing pretty much animal communication, but I'd love to connect with your loved one at some point. You can always go to spiritualtalking.com and put in podcast 20 to get 20 off. Thank you, Lee. You're welcome. Appreciate it. I don't know. Diana. Diana, did you have a cat? I'm seeing like a cat and a dog around you. Diana, I'm seeing like a cat and a dog. Okay, so Angie's writing, Dolly had passed and was just a wonderful dog. She was a herding dog. Bear had been living with me for over 3 years, and I am connected to him. I hope I'm doing the best for him and his health. Also inherited my mom's dad's dog, but don't get him trained. Just can't seem to bond with him. Okay. Okay, hang on one second. And Angie, I am going to say that first of all, Dolly's around you all the time. Okay, she was the dog that's the tan one that was the herding dog. And Bear is he's like not sure about the dog that just came into the house that you inherited. So he's trying to get his whole relationship with this new dog. And yes, you will be able to train and bond with him. I think you need to take time separate with the new dog that you inherited. You need to take some time separately with the dog to train him and to bond with him. But he's a bit confused right now. Is the dog that's new to the house. So Bear needs to be kind of the Pac-Man, if you will, and show this new dog some of the ropes. Okay. That's kind of the dynamic that I'm feeling. Okay, so back to Diana, who I asked if she had a cat that passed and a dog, and she said yes. Diana, you had one of each, right? Was the dog about 40 pounds or smaller, like kind of a medium-sized dog that passed? I'm talking to Diana not right now. And then I'll see if I can get to you, Christine, in your cat. Yeah, I feel the cat and the dog. Hang on, Christine. Let me just hear from Diana. I feel like your cat was dark cat too. There's a dark cat. I don't know. Now that there's a lot of cats in here, there's a very dark cat. Yes, but they weren't together. Okay, they weren't together, but they're together on the other side. So what I saw was that you had a cat and a dog, but they're together on the other side. Diana had responded, yes, but they weren't together, but they're together now. And they shared their love for you and everything on the other side. It's like souls when let me take a breath and explain this. Like when souls pass, whether it's in my experience, this is my experience, it's sometimes not always easy to articulate it, but when souls pass over, whether it's a pet or a loved one, they often find their other soul members. Okay. So if a cat, let's say, for example, like Diana here had a cat. Okay. She had a cat for probably maybe 13 years or so. I'm getting a 13, 13, 14 years or quite a while. And then the cat passes away. And then let's say she gets the dog, and the dog, is the love of her life as well for years. And then the dog passes away. The dog and the cat's soul often connect because they shared your love. Okay. And I know it's so, I don't know, it's my reality, but that's what happens. So they will connect because they shared you or your family member or whatever. I hope that makes sense. So Diana's saying perfect. Okay. They are together. Let's see. Anybody have a dark cat, like a black cat with golden eyes? I'm seeing a black cat and I'm writing all these lines and scribbles. So a black cat. Who has the black cat with like gold eyes? Anybody have a black cat with golden eyes that wants to come through, lived a long life, very sultry, like, I don't know what else to say. She said that. I'm very sultry. Okay. Steel past. Who's Steel, Lee? A black cat. It's kind of my black cat. Okay. Did he have golden eyes? Okay, Diana. Yeah, Diana's cat. I knew yours was like tan and Diana's saying mine was tabby and Maine Coon. And that's different colored tan. So, okay, someone's saying Lee said Serena, 2 black cats. Yes. Okay, they had golden eyes. Okay, interesting. They're coming through to say hi and thank you. They lived a long life. Serena was that's what the sultry word. Serena and sultry. That's interesting. I never say the word sultry, and this cat came very fluidly. And Steele and Serena is what Lee's saying, and they were litter mates. Okay. Yeah, they're coming through, the 2 cats. I mean, I can't make this up. Okay. I wrote 2 cats, black 2 cats. So thank you so much for coming through. Still, those are great names, litter mates. They were brother and sister, male and female. Yes. Definitely male and female energy. Back to Diana. Diana, was your dog about 40 pounds? I have a little 40-pound dog coming through. Not really little, solid. Tan. So Lee's saying yes, male and female. Thank you. Who has, I want to get to Diana. There's something, I have a message for you, and I'm trying to give it to you regarding your dog. So please let me know if your dog was about 40 pounds. In the meantime, when she's answering, I just want, when we lose our pets, it's like losing our best friend and more, And some people don't understand the love of animals like we all do, that we've experienced that kind of love. And so grieving your pet is a process, just like losing a loved one. The unconditional love, and I've said this before, only really comes from a parent to a child, in my view, and from a pet to a family member, owner, master, pet. I don't know what the right protocol is, but from our loved ones to our pets, that's unconditional love. They give us unconditional love. So when you've lost a pet, it's like your whole world can feel shattered. And I just want you to know that those feelings are all real. We don't bypass the grieving. We can't bypass losing our best friend. But what we can do is really realize that they are with us. That just changes forms and recognizing the signs. I mean, when I was little, when I was 18 and Silver was, my mom put him down. She didn't even tell me she was putting him down. It was so traumatic. But I would hear his footprints and collar and his paws on the tile for like months, letting me know that he was there. And I would say to my parents, Dad, did you hear Silver walking in the hall? And he's like, no. And then sometimes he would hear him. So they do come to us and they do comfort us. Please know that. So back to Diana. I had a St. Bernard Golden and Scotty. Maybe my grandma's dog. I'm not sure then. It might not be for you. But your cats definitely, they're all together. Sherry, connect with my sweet dog, Chloe. I don't know how to say it. Lee, my pets are my only children. Yes, pets are children in so many ways. And, it's interesting with Bentley, who's the sweetest Bichon, who also channels both my male and female. Buster and Bella is a combo in him for sure. And he has his own, identity, of course. He is perfect for being a pet therapy dog. And he is a therapy dog, but I haven't been able to take him to a lot of hospitals or anything. But pets really ease our stress. They remind us to be in the moment. They remind us, oh, it's time to get fed or go for a walk or have a treat. They keep us grounded, and they keep us on our toes. And they love us when we look great and when we don't look great, when we feel great, when we don't feel great, when we're happy and when we're sad. They're 100% there for us. And it's just so important to know that their love continues. Coley, gone 2 years. I'm so sorry. Sherry's saying Coley, her dog, has been gone 2 years. Lee's saying, I went to the zoo and the jaguar sat up and recognized me. I think it was my German. Wow. My German Shepherd, Zara. I bet you're right. What happens, that's so interesting. And I love that you recognized it. Diana's saying, my St. Bernard would put her paws on my bed. She scared me at first until I finally realized it was her. Yes. Well, what I was saying about the dog, this will happen, is I felt a very solid dog around you, Diana. Very solid dog. So this St. Bernard was a male St. Bernard. Oh, it was a female St. Bernard. They're so amazing. A neighbor of mine growing up had one, and they're so fantastic. And he would scare me. He was a male. And the other dog, who was the male dog? Because there's a male dog on the other side that belongs to you. And all of them are together, even though you didn't have them all at the same time. You had them in different stages. Is that right? And then Sherry, I want to try and get back to you and your dog. Excuse me. What happens when I start channeling is Spike is the golden. Okay, Spike, he's the male. He was so, because I wrote male dog mellow. He was very mellow. He was the mellow male dog. He was your really go with the flow, dog. Is that right? He's sending his love to you too. And yeah. Okay. They loved each other, is what she's saying. Yes, they did. And they still do. And they still love you. And you recognize certain things that remind you of them. And it hasn't been that long since you just were reminded of one of them. Oh, you did have them together the whole time. Why did I felt like they were separate. I guess it's the third dog then. So you had a pair of big dogs and then the small dog separate. One and then the small dog. Interesting. I'm going to go to Sherry for a second. Coley. First of all, I'm so sorry for all our losses with our pets and our love that we love so much, because we always think of them, and they always, whenever I channel them, they always have just so much gratitude. Sherry, are you still here? And can you type that you're here? Please do. Thank you. She was a little dog. Was she light? Was she light colored? Please do. She was a Shih Tzu Poodle, the best little dog, is what Sherry's saying. Yes. And she lived a long life. Okay, Diana said one of mine was one of the exes, so they met later in life. Interesting. Okay, yeah. So the two grew up together. Okay. Well, they're sending you so much love. I'm going to talk to Sherry's dog. Several great age. Yes. So I wrote 13 to 15. So so she was, you had her from when she was a little girl, little puppy. She's saying that you had her from when she was a baby, and you used to say, "You're my baby, you're my baby." Is that right? This is for Sherry. Did you have the dog since she was a little puppy, and you'd say, like, "This is my baby"? That's what she's telling me that you used to say to her, "My little baby." And she put her in, like, did you travel with her in like little bags? And she's showing me like in a like purses or something, that you would take her in purses. Does that make sense? Did you used to travel her in like purses? Sherry had said yes, that she was. We have a couple minutes and we got to wrap it up. Unfortunately, time flies so fast when you're having fun. I hope you got some really good information. Please confirm that you used to carry her in purses. Or no, but always in the car walk. Oh, that's so weird. She's showing me like bags, like she was in bags. That's so interesting. Because she's letting me know that you were with her together. Sherry wrote no, but always with me in the car or on a walk. Well, someone else's dog was always in a bag that's in this group or purse or something with them. Because I just saw pink and red purses. You used to call her baby, baby, baby. She wants me to make sure that I get that out. That you used to call her your baby, your baby. Lee, you're so welcome. Thank you. I appreciate this. And if you want a private session, go to spiritstalking.com and we could dive deep. On here, it's different. I'm just answering. So we have to wrap it up in a minute. So I want to say thank you so much for being with me. I think that our message, I wanted to pull a really quick spirit animal card. So Sherry said, yes, I called her my baby, my baby. Okay. Thank you for validating. She did not want me to let it go. So that's her way of saying I'm with you and letting you know. So I'm going to pull a quick oracle card from the Spirit Animal Oracle for all of us. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know you could be anywhere in the world and you chose to spend this time with me. And I'd love for you to follow me on my social media. What do we all need to know for our highest good? Horse spirit. Freedom is yours. I love it. Card number 33, which is a very powerful number. Freedom is yours. Interesting that we have the choice to make where do we see our freedoms and where do we see our our tightening. And so really quickly, the oracle message when horse spirit appears, it's with the gift of spirit and the movement and freedom. It's time to travel and for adventure, whether it means a trip somewhere or taking a different type of journey, one of freedom and of choice. It's time for spirit. The horse spirit reminds you that no matter what the circumstances are, you have free will, and the choices you make, you are far to a better place and a better situation, a better state of being. For there is no one but you to reign in your will, to make a beautiful and different decision. You're capable of making powerful choices that will affect you for the long time to come. I'm going to leave you with that message. Horse spirit, find your freedom, the right to feel however you want and not bypass anything. Thank you all so very much for being with me, and I will see you soon next week. Thank you so much. Good night.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.